Hey, this is Ben Clary, and I'm going to go over my presentation on Marie Curie and how I think her discovery closely aligns with the serendipity and methodical work pathway. So, according to Derry, the definition of this serendipity and methodical work pathway is that chance only favors the prepared mind. And the way I like to think about this is that with a lucky break and some skill, a new discovery can be formed. So, one example I like to think of when it comes to this is if Indiana Jones was on a vacation and he stumbled upon the entrance of a hidden temple, and he made a new discovery, like that would be a serendipity and methodical work pathway because he is someone who's an archaeologist, he has the knowledge, but he did happen to get a lucky break, and that both of those were needed for the discovery. So now I'm going to go into Marie Curie's story. And how serendipity came in. So Marie Curie was working at a university in Paris. She was studying uranium for its radioactive properties. And while she was working with uranium, she found that it wasn't uranium that was the source of radiation, but rather something else in pitchblende, which was the rock that they got uranium from. So she kind of pursued this further, this serendipity and lucky break. And what she found was that that there was something that was more radioactive because she isolated all the elements in this pitchblende, and she found that there was something even more radioactive, and that was polonium. And this polonium became a new element. She found this new element and brought up all this research and evidence behind it. So then, actually, while she was separating all these elements, there was a liquid that formed during the separation process, and she found that this was even more radioactive. So she kept going down this rabbit hole of radioactive discovery, and she wanted to pursue this further. But the problem was uranium rock is super expensive, and she wasn't able to get it very easily. So what she did was she went to a factory that mined uranium, and she was able to get their radioactive waste, which is the part that she wanted, for super cheap to be able to study. So that was kind of serendipity and a lucky break, and she was kind of a businesswoman there, pioneering that radioactive waste. So then methodical work came in again as she separated this radioactive waste further, using a lot of different chemical processes of grinding, dissolving, all those kinds of things in the labs, working with large batches of radioactive material, and she was able to isolate radium, and she then put that element on the periodic table. So that was her second element that she discovered. And prior to this discovery, radioactivity was not really a super known thing at all. So Henry Becquerel was studying X-rays, and what he found was that some substances emit rays that are not X-rays, because they could be bent by magnetic waves, which he realized X-rays could not do, which has been proven. So basically he said, there is this ray out there that's undiscovered. I'm not sure what it is, but it's different than X-rays. And that paved the way for Marie Curie to kind of do her real work into radioactivity. And she realized that radioactivity, where it comes from, she found the two elements. She coined the term radioactivity, so she really paved the way and did a lot for radioactivity overall. But before, it wasn't really even known to be anything, so she really brought to light what radioactivity is. So there's my sources and some questions. Some questions I've gotten when I was talking to people was, what is an interesting fact about Marie Curie? I didn't know her husband worked alongside her for a lot of the process. Also, this time period was around late 1800s, early 1900s. And Marie Curie did die from radioactivity exposure, which makes sense when she was dealing with those large quantities of the radioactive material. So, yeah, thanks for listening.